We're here.
And we are broadcasting.
Not as much. I don't want to disturb you.
So, Andrea, I saw you over at Fox Harbor. Did you figure out the disease on that tree behind the guard shack?
Yeah, that one's kind of in bad shape, isn't it?
I cannot believe those beavers came up onto the roadway to eat that tree.
I know, it's crazy.
Well, they also went across the road to the Lavin's place. Didn't you tell me that, Ron?
Did they?
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a lot of damage.
I bet they love that.
Pretty impressive.
It is.
Very industrious.
Ron,
Ron brought these to me.
you sent an invite to Jack Baggett.
I did.
Yes, and he's been responding.
He accepted the meeting, so.
Yeah, all right. Maybe he'll show up in a couple of minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So these are gifts that Ron gave me. These are
Beaver bites.
beaver bites. Pretty impressive.
Yep. They got sharp teeth, that's for sure.
I mean, and strong.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like these.
Were these, I take it these were probably good trees that they decided to get for lunch?
Now, the one I think is the one they got behind Fox Harbor's guard shack, I think is a Japanese maple, isn't it? Or was.
Right. It wasn't in good shape anyway, so. But
They've got a new home or lunch.
Evidently it was tasty.
Mhm.
I see Connie
Are they-
Coon showed up here. That's great. I think we ought to start the meeting. We do have a quorum of Forestation board members. In fact, more than a quorum. We're going to pass on the minutes. We'll do that next month. And Doug, if you could give us any updates for the city in general, that would be helpful. And then after that, Linda Wardell has to leave the meeting early. So I want to change the agenda a little bit. And after your updates, talk about the canopy and memorial trees first. But if you'd please go ahead, that'd be nice.
Sure. The art exhibition is ongoing, so I would encourage folks to stop by anytime. We're going to have a lecture in connection with the art exhibition that will be on Sunday, March 10th. I'm sorry, Sunday, March 10th, probably at 2 p.m. It's going to be limited seating, so you'll need to reserve a spot. But the lecture will be delivered by John Begley, who is an artist, but also taught at the University of Louisville Art Institute, taught the subject of curatorial studies. So he taught people how to be curators. And he's a very good guy, very good speaker. So I encourage folks to attend that. This is the 200th birthday of the city of Prospect. No, this is the 50th birthday of the city of Prospect, but it is also the 200th birthday of the creation of Oldham County, which I think is an interesting coincidence. So we're going to be celebrating the 50th birthday. Terry Rankhorn is chairing a committee that will lead those efforts to celebrate what's going on and what we've done over the last 50 years in Prospect. I'm having coffee with the mayor this week on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock at Starbucks. So everyone's welcome to stop by Starbucks to talk with me about any concerns or questions or just to say hello. So all of you are invited. So we may see you then. That's really it, Lee.
Thank you. So let's move to the memorial trees first, because that's a priority for Linda Wardell. we're due to put in or designate a flowering native tree in Little Hunting Creek Park, in memory of, Linda's mother. Andrew, would you have a recommendation as to putting a new tree in?
Yeah, I had one last fall, and then Linda decided, she kind of jointly decided that she wanted to wait till this spring, but you know, I'd given her, I think, a choice of a red bud or possibly a Japanese snow bell, which is a white flowering, you know, spring blooming tree. I think she liked those suggestions. Is she on this call right now?
She
Or-
was, but I don't see her
She
now.
was,
think
but
she might have-
had issues.
She already had, okay. Well, so we'll have to finalize with her yeah, I suggested 2 locations, and one was in the area. I had it on a map, or I showed photographs in the fall. I don't have them accessible right now. One location was generally between the parking lot, the end of the parking lot, and where the sort of where the pavilion area starts as a red bud. And then there was another location I was thinking of, is if you walk the new walking path, like from the playground towards Fox Harbor Road, and on one of the curves of that walk, there seemed to be a good location on the left side, away from the creek, on the opposite side of the creek, to plant a flowering tree. So I think she was amenable to either one, but we'll probably have to see if she has a definite opinion or what she would like.
She had a definite opinion in the past. I know. that.
Yeah, I think
Well-
she kind of liked the second location, but I don't know for sure. We'll have to check with her. So whenever she decides, we can order that. The city can order, or the board or whatever can order it anytime, either with the memorial tree order or separately, either one, whatever you want to do. Assuming you're going to get, people buying memorial trees and so forth.
Yes,
Going in.
the money has already been collected for that tree and for the plaque, and the plaque actually has been made. I'm sure that Linda would like a native tree rather than,
Right, and both of those are native.
so we're clear on that. And maybe she'll come back to the meeting. She said she could be available for about 45 minutes, then she had to leave.
Okay.
But we might as well talk about the canopy trees also.
Lee, just a minute. We had
Yes.
that request come in from late November from a
Right.
Cindy Embry.
Right.
And I did reach out to her to find out more information. I have not heard back from her.
Well, I had talked with her in November,
Mm-hmm.
and she was aware of what it would cost, more or less. She's collecting money from a group of friends. The money seemed to be acceptable. She would like a tree in Harrods Creek Park in memory of a friend. I don't know the name of the friend who used to use the park quite a bit. And I think she's amenable to any location that could be viewed, not one way back in the woods or something like that, but in any location that would be relatively easy to access. And we talked possibly about a swamp oak, but there was no decision made. But that's the information I have from her. I'm sure she'll be getting back to us. Her interest is obviously continuing. And she knew it would be a spring planting, because when she got a hold of me back in November, we were too far along with the other planting and purchasing plans. Okay. But on the canopy trees, already Ron has sent out an email blast. He may have printed the flyers that'd be available at City Hall. I don't know. Ron, can you comment on that?
I'm sorry, Lee, I missed what you were talking about. I had to get
We,
up for a
we,
second.
we were talking about canopy tree flyers that would be placed at City Hall for people to pick up.
I printed out the agreement. They have that at the front desk.
All right, that's what
And
I'm
we,
asking.
and we did send out an email, so.
Mhm.
Right. And then while we're on that, Ron, you just sent a note out asking for any articles to be in the next newsletter.
Correct.
And certainly the canopy tree information should be in there. I don't know if you need a separate.
Nah, I can work with what I sent out and the
Okay.
email list, so you
That'll
should be
take
good to
care of
go.
that.
I'll pretty it
That's
up.
great. Okay, very nice. Any other comments on memorial trees or canopy trees?
Yeah, Lee, what about the one that talked to Zeke at Honey Creek Country Club?
Yeah, I have to call him and tell him what trees we have available. I'll try to do that in the next few days.
Now that I just finally got back on the meeting, I
good,
missed
Liz.
all the discussion about memorial trees, so I don't even know what was said about them.
It's all
What
about
we
you.
were, but we could go back over that, Linda, for your mother's tree. Andrew, why don't you take it up? You already have it.
I think we talked last fall, Linda, about two
Mhm.
possible locations, and I don't know if you would want one of those locations in Little Hunting Creek Park, or you want to select a different location in that area. I think you wanted something in Little Hunting Creek Park, right?
Yeah.
By the new pavilion area and
Right.
that whole section, right?
Right.
So as I recall, there was one, at least a spot between the kind of the turf area between the edge of the back of the new parking lot and the pavilion area, so to speak. And
Sure.
then there was another location, and there may be more that you can think of, that would be along the walking path that goes from the pavilion towards Fox Harbor Road, maybe halfway on along one of those bends or curves in the sidewalk. So
I like the idea of it being fairly close to the playground, just because my mother was all about kids and scouts
Yeah.
and all kinds of stuff.
okay.
So,
Did you like, I know you like red buds, but did you
Right.
want to go with a red bud? Was that your choice, or what do you think?
I guess what I would like to do is go with whatever you think would be most appropriate for that area. I think you had said, we could do, I think you were leaning toward either a red bud or a sweet bay magnolia. If
Oh,
that's what
that's
I,
probably what it was. I misspoke earlier, sorry, when you weren't on the
Oh.
call. But yes, a sweet bag, yes.
and
Um,
what do you think would be most appropriate
Well,
there?
the sweet bay, if you get a regular sweet bay, it'll bloom sporadically, from late
Mhm.
spring through the summer months. Has kind of a nice scent to it, kind of a lemony scent. So I kind of like that idea, really, because you have other red buds already in the
Right.
park,
Mm.
and it might be
Yeah.
something a little different and stand out a little bit.
Yeah, I
So-
like that idea.
There's also now those usually come multi-stemmed, but
Mhm.
there's also a newer, one that's become available more recently called Moonbeam, which is a evergreen variety.
Mhm.
And would be single stemmed, but the ones I've seen are gonna be nice. They're probably gonna not look quite as full right now to you as the other ones. So the other ones might look better to you going in just initially, is what I was thinking.
Right.
So, but you could choose it, probably either one that you would like.
I don't
I-
know.
Okay, well, why don't we
What
just go with let me check on the sweet gum availability and the sizes and, what they have for sure. And then I'll just send you an email and
Okay.
you'll have information, okay?
That's
And
perfect.
then-
Thank
and
you.
then we can either, like I said earlier, order that tree when the memorial tree order, I mean, not the memorial tree, but the canopy tree order
Canopy,
goes
mhm.
in at the same time, or it could be ordered separately, but either way, it won't be a problem.
Okay, that sounds
Okay.
good.
All right.
Great,
Well,
thanks,
very-
Andrea.
Very good.
Hey, Lee, and Linda Knox, Mr. Baggett's on the Zoom
Right,
also.
yeah,
I don't know if you
we're-
noticed that, but wanted to alert you to that.
Right. Yeah, I saw there and we just wanted to cover that memorial tree for Linda Wardell. But yes, we can move to Jack Baggett and Jack, we see you there. Could you
Hi,
just
Jack.
tell us about
Hello,
all about the work of the forestry division of the state of Kentucky?
Sure, that'd be no problem, Lee. Thank you very, very much. My name is John. My name is Jack Baggett. Real name is John, but I go by Jack. I am the Urban Forestry Partnership Coordinator for the Kentucky Division of Forestry. I've been at this job for about a grand total of 3 months. I reviewed basically all the Tree City USA applications, and glad to say that you guys are once again Tree City USA, for 2023. Before coming to, I'm not really a native from Kentucky. My dad was in the Marine Corps, so we traveled around a whole lot in my childhood. But my mom was from Bowling Green, my dad was from Paducah, and we always had Kentucky roots. And eventually, when my dad did retire, we had a farm in Bourbon County, and then we had a farm down in Cadiz, Kentucky, too. But for the last 20 years, I've been in Fairfax County, Virginia, where I was an urban forester there. Principally, I work with forest health type stuff, invasive insects, invasive diseases, stuff like that. And then I work with development for the last 4 years before I retired. And, basically making sure that developers, follow the tree ordinances and zoning ordinances we had in Fairfax County. So I'm here as a technical representative, for you to rely upon. And, if you need anything, I'm always here for you. I'm here for tree ordinance information. Anything basically you all can use. You can go ahead and please contact me, and I'd be happy to help you. As I say, I'm from the government. I'm here to help.
That's great.
Gary, I have a question.
Sure,
Jack, you
Linda.
were nice enough to send me some information from other cities on their
Sure.
ordinances. And you also told me that the Arbor Foundation is working on drafting a template that could be useful to us as we are
Yes.
working on ours. Is there any progress on that?
This, Linda, I have found out moves extremely slowly.
Yeah, I think so too.
The short answer is no. The
Okay.
good answer, though, is one of those links I sent you was the Chicago.
Yes.
Yeah, the Chicago area tree ordinance guide or something like that. That's going to be a carbon copy, basically, of what they're going to come out with in the Arbor Day Foundation.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
that's actually a really good guide. Unfortunately, I haven't had time to really delve into the guide itself, but it actually kind of shows you all what ordinances, where you're at right now, and what ordinances you all may, may want to consider maybe in the future.
And I thought it was interesting that they have different levels of
Yes.
based on, different size cities. I mean, Chicago is
Right.
big and complex.
Well, it's
Absolutely.
actually, they probably bring it from all sorts of different, large and small organizations. I mean, Prospect's actually a very, it's a very urbane area. It's a very community. It's a very, it's a suburb of Lowell. So, I mean, I think a lot of what Chicago, you can't, from that guy, you can't definitely to Prospect. And I just had a big fear just came over me. And I say, am I really talking to people from Prospect, or am I talking to people from Florence? Because I've been talking to Florence all day today. So, so I apologize if I get confused really quickly. I am 61. That happens. But but honestly, it's a really good guide. And what we try to do is for Tree City USA. I looked at y'all's first of all, I looked at y'all's ordinance. You guys got a fantastic ordinance.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I think it
Great.
covers a lot. There's always room for improvement if you want to. There's always that. But what I try to do is I use that Chicago, whatever that's called, ordinance to try to get brand new cities involved that may not have the resources that you guys may have. And then once we get them involved in the Tree City USA program, we can get them to maybe up their ordinances a little bit better. So that's what that's for.
Well, that's very helpful. And yes, we know there are things that are working well with our ordinance, but there's other things that we feel need some clarification. And, we will take another look at all the Chicago documents, and that's very helpful.
Yeah, and I'm here, Linda. I'm an email away, and I'm a phone call away. So if you need that, just by all means, work with me, and I'd be happy to work with any of y'all.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
I
you.
just wanted to add, Jack, if you have any suggestions or recommendations for our programs, would be happy to hear or learn about them.
I'm here to, just to answer questions. Yeah, if I see something, I'll be happy to do. But honestly, you guys are doing just a bang up job. So honestly, if I see something, I'll make a suggestion. So that's what I'm here for.
Okay, and please stay with us for the rest of the meeting.
I will.
If you can. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Okay. The next item on the agenda actually is the Tree City recertification, which everyone knows, and Jack just said, we are recertified for this year.
And a growth award.
And
Yes.
the growth award, that's very
Yeah.
important. This will be the 6th or 7th growth award we've gotten. And each, just for background, as if anybody isn't aware, the growth awards are based on adding a new or significant upgrades to programs. When you bring in a new program, if it meets the qualifications, then it gets a certain number of points. A minimum of 10 points is required to get a growth award. In this case, we got 8 from the canopy tree program and 2 more points from continuing to do tree planting in the city Prospect. If there's nothing else on that, Andrew, you have quite a bit actually. If you want to go ahead and do your comments and updates.
Well, you asked about the ecotech tree, the League of
Yes.
Cities donation to the city. I think I did email that out to you this morning, but
Yes, I saw that.
and I know Ron's aware of it, but the tree was planted last week at the landings, the young dogwood. It looks good. The problem is that when they dug the original planting hole, they cut an irrigation line, which I mentioned to Ron. I'm sure he's thrilled with that. But at least the company planting the tree notified us, and so you will know where that cut line is. So that's good. That got planted. The other, I had just a few little things, and then I was going to talk about 2 trees that I sent you out this morning that are hazards.
Yeah.
I was just going to mention, I think I mentioned this to Ron, I'm sure he's aware of it, but the deer keep loosening the tree guards on some of the young trees. So we need to be kind of trying to keep up with keeping the zip ties on them and so forth to keep them protected. And Ron, I did notice, I keep forgetting to mention, this is just a minor thing, but at the entrance to the landings on the right, when you go in, there's a crabapple tree on the right that still has it has a tree stake and a strap, one of those straps they use to straighten the trees on there that, you know, it doesn't need to be on there anymore. If you could have somebody just cut that at least and,
All right.
remove it, that'd be great. The, also just wanted to remind you, you're gonna kill me, but that Foster Holly that died on the right side of US 4, you know, of Hunting Creek Drive when you go
Oh,
down
yeah.
to US 42, if you could get somebody at least cut that down, it would look better. We have an American holly now planted in front of it, but you
All right.
know, it would just look a lot better if you could. There's two trees that are dead, essentially dead on Sutherland Farm Drive in Innisbrook.
I saw your emails.
And they've been there a while, been kind of watching them, but we really ought to address them. One is a dead ash tree. I think it was about 18 inches. It's on the exit side. And I think you can kind of tell from the picture where exactly it is. It's
Yeah, I
near
know
a
exactly. I know exactly where it's
stone
at.
culvert. And then the other one is on the entrance side, about halfway down where the bigger drainage culvert goes under the road. And it's a very large double trunk dead ash that is right on the fence line with Wallace Farm.
Yeah, that's going to be an
And-
expensive one.
And I'm thinking, I mean, if we could, it may be past this point, but if we could just make it safe rather than you having to go to the expense of taking the whole tree down.
I'll just go and have them take the whole thing down. There's no sense in
Okay.
doing part of it
Okay.
now and then having to do it again
Okay.
anyway. So
Okay. Well, that would be the ideal thing. And as part of that, I think one of those dead trunks is likely to, it's very possible it could, you know, injure somebody or hit the edge of the road there. So there, I sent pictures of those trees out this morning so you can look at them. And you know, that's kind of an update on that situation. So I think that's all I have, Lee, right now, other than some of the other items that are going to come up on the agenda, like the cherry tree on or the pine on Gunston and some of that. And
Oh,
some of
okay,
those things you
I'm asking about the one, Linda Wardell was reporting, I think you just discussed it. It's behind the 7913 Sutherland Farm.
Right, that's another one, yes.
Yeah, and it's owned, Ron already identified the owner. It's Canfield LLC, Canfield.Cox actually, LLC.
Right.
And probably we need to vote to order that tree remediated, and then our code enforcement officer will have to write them a letter asking them to do that. The other one you talked about, apparently, Ron, you can take care of that without contacting Wallace Farm.
right, it's on it's on city property. Yeah,
It's on city property. That's great. Okay.
actually,
let's-
both of them are.
Both of them are on city property?
No, not
Yes.
the pine tree. The
Right.
ones, the two that Andrea was talking about. They're both on city. The ash and the larger tree.
One's on the
Uh,
entrance side and one's on the exit side, Lee, of
Right.
Sutherland Farm
Okay.
Drive.
But then the third tree or trees is the one Linda Wardell reported at behind
Correct.
So that's the one that we'll have to take city action on.
Right.
And so I'm asking for somebody to make a motion to order that tree to be remediated.
And that the address is actually 7912. It's
Then not-
behind 7912 Sutherland Farm Road.
Okay, well, the letter would go to Canfield Cox LLC. Ron reported that entity is the owner. So
Right.
we can have a motion to have that tree remediated.
Motion to remove it.
Okay, seconded. How about her?
Colleen Herb.
Herb's
Thank you.
muted.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. We'll do that, and then we'll ask the mayor to have action taken appropriately. I wanted to mention also on the hazardous trees that some months ago, Andrea had pointed out a hazardous tree very close to City Hall, right along Highway 42, and warned that it might fall. Well, apparently a limb has fallen there. It was laying on the road last time I drove by. The address was 9114 US 42. There may still be some hazard associated with that tree. No city action at all was taken, as far as I know. But, the property owner was never notified. Andrew, when you have a chance, could you take a look at that location and determine whether any hazard remains?
Yeah, yes, I will. I looked at it quickly a couple of days ago, but I really I didn't have a chance to really examine it closely. But
Yeah.
I do think, as I recall, I do think there's decay in the trunk, right in the area of where that branch fell or broke off. So I think probably the whole tree needs to go, but I unfortunately couldn't find it in my notes from, I think it went back to last summer. So I'll look at it again, let you know an update.
Okay, thank you. And watch out, it's so hazardous along there, so much traffic.
Yeah, it's right behind the gentleman's fence or a resident's fence there,
Yeah,
right on the, right next to their driveway in US 42. So
yeah,
it's
well,
not very far
exactly
from-
as you predicted, that limb fell, and it could have
Right.
well caused a problem with
Right.
the vehicle.
We're lucky it broke and didn't, the whole branch didn't fall, I think.
Okay. There's nothing else on the hazardous trees. We can talk about Chase Bank, but to my knowledge, nothing has come back from Chase after we sent Herb and Andrew's report. Mr. Mayor, are you aware of any further communication from Chase Bank? Maybe he's not on.
He's on mute.
Yeah,
No, Lee, I'm not aware of any further communication with Chase Bank.
yeah. I sent their representative a note probably Monday or maybe Tuesday, but I haven't heard back. So we can give them a little more time and then ask again. Basically, when we sent a report, we just asked that their landscape plan be in agreement with the recommendations made by Herb and Andrea. But they haven't said anything. All right. Next item covers the dead pine on Gunston. We're still waiting.
That's on my to-do list. I need to talk with Mike Thomas about that. I'll do that.
Okay, and then you might, we also, the next item actually is the black cherry on New Bern Court. That was named and clearly was hazardous several months ago. As far as I know, it's never been communicated to the property owner that they should remediate that tree. And it's a hazardous tree hanging over a play set. So really something should be done about that.
Lee,
It would be good.
where is that, Lee?
Bridge Point.
Yeah, it's actually
on
the
New
tree.
Bern
The
Court.
tree is on property owned by somebody on New Bern Court. But I think when Andrew and I looked at that, I think you can best view it from
You could
Bridge Point.
You
Yeah,
should
one
be
of the
able to view it
challenges
from the
is that it's-
backyard.
It's in the backyard.
I was gonna say backyard of the home on Bridgepoint Boulevard. I
Right.
don't know the exact address. Was that 7002 maybe, or? We would have to look up that address, but it can be viewed from that yard.
Well,
It's their neighbor, it's hanging over the fence line of their neighbor's
Yeah.
tree in the back,
Yeah.
which is over a
The-
play area for kids in the backyard, that backyard.
Well, in August, we put down a list of hazardous trees, and that was number one. And the address is actually 7001 New Bern Court. At that time, the property was owned by Michael and Julie Brown. It's a black cherry.
Michael and Julie Brown.
Yes.
Right. It was a
Seven-
tree that
Mike
was up,
Brown. I wonder if it's
Court.
Mike or his son, but okay.
it was uprooted. It was a tree that was uprooted with those March storms. Remember last year when we had all those high winds and
Oh, yeah.
various trees were uprooted,
Yep.
and that tree was uprooted, but not, it didn't fall to the ground. It was caught up hanging in another tree. And
Okay.
it's hanging over the backyard of that address he just gave you.
Okay. We still have to do some follow-up, or I have to do some follow-up on the three houses in the landings with the Bradford Pier. So I guess it would be helpful to me if somebody could send me an email with all these addresses, and I'll work, Lee, with you and Linda, and we'll figure out the best way to go forward with those, all of them.
Okay,
Mhm.
we'll work together on that, and Robert might need a little more help from Andrea also. We'll get that done.
And in particular with the ones on in the landings, I think it'd be a great opportunity to talk with those homeowners about the canopy tree program. So they get assistance
Yes.
in replacing the trees.
Yes,
And
and
if there's a
Sorry.
member of the forestation board who could maybe meet with them, those homeowners, and talk with them about what's available, that could be a big help.
I was wondering when Ron, when you send the email blast out about like the canopy program and stuff, does that go to a large number of the city residents, or?
A little over 1,000, yeah. About
Because
1,100.
I'm hoping some people in the landings got that. I was thinking that this morning.
Yeah, and whether they did or did not, we ought to follow up with them.
Right, sure.
And I don't know with your basic e-blast if I think there's a second list that you maybe send to the HOAs who, hopefully would redistribute through their communities.
Some of the HOAs are on it. I couldn't tell you which ones though.
Mm-hmm.
I can send it. I guess I can forward that city mail to all the HOA presidents, which I'm glad to do.
That's
That would
great.
be,
And ask,
idea.
that'd be
and ask them
really
pass that
helpful.
along to their
Right.
members.
Okay. If nothing else on those topics, the next one is the ordinance update. And Mr. Mayor, you sent out to David Holmes a draft or proposed language for ordinance update would basically require all builders to submit tree removal and tree replacement plans through the Forestation Board before they could get a building permit. Is this going to be perhaps on the council agenda for this coming meeting?
I don't know. It'll be up to David. It was his. He's the one who came forward with it. It seemed to me on the surface to be a very good suggestion. I think
Yes.
it grew out of the work with Chase Bank to get them to replace any trees they take out, maybe in another location.
Yes.
And David's feeling was that we should apply the same sort of a rule or approach to residential development, although there's less and less residential development as the city's pretty well built out. But it seemed on the surface, at least to me, to be a good idea.
Yes.
Mhm.
And that would lead to also more work for the Forestation Board, which is fine. I think that's a good proposal to review these plans or to maybe require them to change them. But also in the ordinance update, we've been trying to get through council. The proposed ordinance calls for 2 more Forestation board members. So that in itself would be helpful. So some of the work could be kind of divvied out. You know, some particular person could be responsible for that.
Yes,
And
Lee and I, as you might imagine, have had several conversations on this topic and, looking at not only succession issues, but some of the questions on our ordinance are important. And, everything from our tree list of what's approved, what's native, what's not native. I mean, we have a lot of Coosa dogwoods. It's a fine tree and we use them a lot, but it's not a native. So trying to get some clarification on some of these issues is just part of the process.
Yep. Well, I know one topic of concern has been the authority of the city to enter private property to remediate a tree if the homeowner doesn't remediate it. And I know that's caused some question. And I've got a thought about that and I don't know how it happened in the breakers where the tree was removed. That's before I became mayor, but the city did remove a tree there, and that's what led to the $3,000 bill that the developer finally paid. But it seems to me, to the extent that that's a stumbling block for people about how we phrase the right of the city to enter private property, is simply to make a statement that the city will always, to the extent that the city enters private property, it'll do so in conformance with state and federal law. Right.
Yeah, that is a major issue that, we've all wrestled with because we want to keep things safe, but there's not an easy answer if we're not allowed on the property. And, just because we put it on paper doesn't mean that we're legally allowed to do so.
No, and that's a tricky area. So, and I think rather than us try to become constitutional scholars and wrestle with an issue that the Supreme Court of the United States hadn't quite figured out, we've got a police chief who's well versed on when his officers can and can't enter private property, and I think we could take our advice from him.
I agree.
And I would think, I'm going to guess, 99% of the time, things occur with the cooperation of the homeowner.
Yes, it does.
No, I'm sorry. That's exactly right. This is hazard trees is one of the things that's in my definitely direct core competencies. I did it for 7 years with Fairfax County. That's all I did was hazard trees. We did have a health and safety code. It wasn't in the urban forestry section, but it's called health and safety. And so when we go in, if we're looking for trees that are a hazard to the general public, trees that are a hazard to streets, power lines, stuff like that, gave us the right in the county to go onto private property and to investigate. Now, as an urban forester, we did not have the enforcement capacity for that. But what we would do is I would go out to the properties, I would just ask them to look at the trees, and we would send them a letter saying you're in violation of the health and safety violation code. You got to mitigate this hazard by such and such date and all that. But I'm sure your all's county attorney, your attorney there can probably guide you as to what you all cannot do on something like that. But yeah, health and safety is health and safety for the public at large is a key phrase.
And Jack, what percentage of the time did you get cooperation from homeowners on that?
Honestly, about all the time.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Good.
I only had one person that actually told me to get off the property, and my instructions were always, if I was told to get off the property, get off the property, because I don't have enforcement capacity. I don't have a badge. And so, but most of the time people understood that they have a dead tree, they have something, and they're just like, I know I got to take care of it. I got to do that. And I would work with them on that. And, whether it would be like 6 weeks, I would give them to take down the tree. And of course, there are some times, and I'm sure Andres has seen this too. There are some trees you walk up to and you go, oh my goodness, we got to get this tree down now. That's when you
Exactly.
call Ron to get the tree care companies come in right away and take care of it.
Right. We
And
did that
then-
last year one time, didn't we? Not
Yeah.
on private property, but
Yeah, but
Yeah.
and that gets really sticky too, but we charge the property owners for that. And they get charged with our management fee, basically, from the county for that too. So it gets very expensive very quickly. And
Well, the other- sorry.
no, I was going to say, because we would have if they did not take care of the hazard, which a lot of times they don't. I mean, not a lot of times, sometimes they don't. A lot of times it will be absentee homeowners. And then the county will go have its contractors go through and take care of the tree, But it goes through a lot of, has to go through a lot of review before it goes, we get to that point.
Okay, very helpful. Lee, what else?
Yeah, I had to say something because you talk about hazard trees. I'm going for 7 years, so let me get in here.
Well,
So
the other issue with hazard trees that I'm sure you run into, Jack, is a lot of there are a lot of hazard trees that are of course not dead. I mean, people think trees have to be dead before they
Yes.
even start worrying about them, and they don't have to be dead.
no,
And
no,
some of
no.
those are fully leafed out, can be fully leafed out, as you
Right.
know, or mostly leafed out, and they look healthy to the untrained eye, and some of those can be the worst, most dangerous trees, actually.
Yeah, a lot of this is
So-
just educating the
Yes.
homeowner to what the situation
Right.
is.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's something,
Exactly.
that's something where I feel like we could use some help from the Forestation Board in communicating with homeowners.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, Lee,
Yes, sir.
one thing, trees, not the ones that were planted last year, but the ones that we've been involved in planting the last couple of years, it'd probably be really good if Greenscapes could remulch them. I've noticed, the mulch is pretty much dissipated in a lot of those locations, so.
Right,
Some
those are
areas were
all-
skipped last year.
You're absolutely right. Those are all city trees, and the Greenscape should assume responsibility, and maybe their contract needs to be added to in some way. But they need to be maintained along with all other city-owned landscape. So I don't know if there's a budget adjustment or this should be addressed in the new budget year,
Well,
which
I mean,
starts July 1.
I wouldn't think that in the contract, it's a maintenance thing, but right now, so I mean, yeah, they would want to be paid for it, sure.
Yeah, sure.
And don't worry about the money, just tell us which trees that need to be mulched. If you can provide to me a list of those trees or.
Sure.
Uh,
Well, one area that's been missed, and seems to get missed the last couple of years, as far as I know, is the area on Timber Ridge Drive across from Smithfield Green. And from the city entrance at River Road coming down, towards the Kroger fuel station. And I've even noticed that there's a couple landscape beds there too, and then there's a row of trees, and they've been being missed. There's some other newer trees that last year I know I identified that I don't know if they just skipped them or I don't know if they're dismissing them or what, but we can send you a list of.
If you'll send them.
It had to do with newer it had to do with Forestation Board trees that have been planted maybe in the last 3 to 5 years.
Just send me a list.
Okay,
Great.
that'd be great.
Yes.
Back to what the mayor had mentioned, talking to the people in Landing. In fact, I think Lee had asked Herb to take care of that, and Herb didn't. So give me if I can get a little bit of a contact, who to contact over there, I'll gladly go talk about the canopy program.
And I know. And
If you give me a second chance, anyway.
No, and I know a little bit about the at least 2 of the 3 houses. So when whoever can send you those addresses, if they'll copy me on that, and then Herb, you and I should talk before you go talk to those folks.
Sounds good.
So,
That's it.
Andrea, can
Connie
you,
will give me a second chance, though. Will Connie give me a second chance?
We're all about second chances.
that's right.
Okay, thank you.
Quick.
I need all the chances I can get.
Don't we all?
We all do, right? We all do. But on that specific request, Andrea, you have the addresses of the ones you already identified. If you could send those to Herb
And to me.
or to,
Okay.
and to the mayor.
Andrew, yeah. If anything that's listing trees that need to be remediated or mulched or anything else, send it to me as well as to whomever else you might send it.
Okay.
Very good. We've run through the published agenda. Does anyone want to bring up anything else?
Well, I want to say to Mr. Baggett, it's a pleasure to meet you. We appreciate your
Yes.
your work
Absolutely.
and your participation in this meeting and your support of our forestation efforts. You know, we sent out a city mail about the canopy program, and one of our homeowners wrote back and said, no, thank you, and proceeded to tell me how Prospect had plenty of trees. And that's not my point of view. So
Yeah.
we're glad to have you here. And we're very appreciative of the Forestation Board and its efforts, and we'll keep working to make Prospect green.
Absolutely. And I'm here for you guys. You know, if you have any questions, I've been talking to Linda and talked to Ron and I talked to maybe a couple other people here, and Andrea. So, definitely I'm here as a resource for you as you work through it. But absolutely, you guys are doing a fantastic job. I do have one thing before I leave. I need to ask, Ron, is that a manatee in your background?
That's my mother-in-law. Actually, it is a manatee. Yes.
Oh.
I was looking at that and I was kind of like going, it looks like
It's probably his alligator.
Well, there's
You
a
gotta
stream
come,
that flows
Jack.
right
You gotta
behind Rock
come to
Wall.
Prospect and see
That's where the
the
manatee is.
aquatic center.
Yeah, I just tell everybody it's my mother-in-law.
Okay. Well, we'll have to come up there. I'll have to come up there and see that then.
We need you to come to
Okay.
Prospect. You need to come.
You
You need to come meet Ron in person. You won't believe it.
Okay.
Yes, he will. Jack, I hope you
There's
can join us
alligators every
for
year.
future meetings.
I will be available if you need me to.
Great. Just join us anytime. We're pretty much the second Thursday
Yeah,
of
let
every
us
month.
know.
And Ron will probably invite you, so you never know what he's going to have in the background.
Yeah, you never know
Oh,
what he's
wow.
got back there.
I may just
like
join us to
variety.
see that.
Right.
So has an alligator barbecue every year that we keep hoping to be invited to.
And
don't
you
think you
haven't
all are
seen the
ready
big
for that
pot he
party,
makes
but,
burgoo in.
I don't think you all are quite ready for that party, but
Oh, yes, we are. We are.
He is.
Oh, my.
Okay, next, last item on the agenda is the next meeting, which will be the second Thursday of March, the 14th, 2
Mhm.
o'clock via WebEx, unless somebody has a serious conflict.
Mhm.
I'm sorry,
Okay,
what was the
and
date on that, Lee?
March 14,
2 o'clock.
Okay, I got it
2
down.
o'clock, right. And we note also that Dawn Gibson has been sitting in there. Very much appreciate your presence, Dawn. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So a motion to adjourn,
So moved?
seconded, I seconded. All in favor, we're adjourned.
All right.
Thanks to
Thank you.
all.
Thanks,
All right,
everybody.
thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks,
All
Jack.
Next meeting, y'all.
Ron, getting this
Good to see
together.
everybody.
All
See you guys
Thanks,
later.
Mr. Baggett.
Good thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.